Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So welcome to this morning online workshop. Boleh dengar tak ni? Can everyone hear?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay,
Boleh,
right.
Dr. Izwan, boleh.
Okay, so today we're going to have an online learning workshop with Dr. Nobihah Syukur from UTM Skudai with the title of Practical Learning Analytics for Educator. So a little bit about Dr. Nobihah. Dr. Nobihah is a senior lecturer from School of Education, University Technology Malaysia for the past 10 years. And currently, she serves as the Deputy Director for Teaching and Learning at UTM. And I think in 2020, she been elected as the Chairman of Malaysian Head of Public University E-Learning Council, MACTA. And a little bit on her background, her doctorate degree is in the area of educational technology, and her research interest is on educational data mining, online learning, and learning analytics. All right. So without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Nobihah at the workshop related to practical learning analytics for educator. So thank you so much, and please welcome Dr. Nobihah. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you UEM for having me here today. Today I think we will be talking about learning analytics. It's very close to my heart because I did learning analytics for my doctoral study. So I'm going to share a little bit the practicality of it and how can you use the data that you have in your online learning management system to analyze your students' participation, or maybe what behavior in the what are the students' behavior online that can predict maybe students' performance. So I share with you in the chat box there a software that if we have time later on, we can try to analyze our students' behavior online. Using this Weka software is a data mining software actually. If we have any computer scientists here and we have data scientists here, I think they are familiar with this software, but this software is not as advanced as that you are doing programming or predictive analytics using R or something like that. It's just but I think this is very handy for people like us to quickly have a brief idea about how students are learning online. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you see my slide? Okay. Betul saya takut saya macam you all dapat yang saya punya yang swap display yang ada tu. So are you viewing the correct view?
Yes,
all of
yes,
you?
okay.
Alright. So our workshop today will cover about understanding the importance of teaching analytics. So there will be two parts today. One thing is about teaching analytics. The other part is about learning analytics. And then we are going to look at what are the tools for teaching analytics and what are the tools for learning analytics. Lepas tu I akan share sikit a little bit of bukanlah macam action research tapi like exploratory study on the data from my class myself, and then saya put it together and how I understand how my students learn based on the data that I have. And then kita kalau sempat kita buat hands-on analysis on the data that all of you have. So I have double checked with one of the academic staff just now, and then we saw that it is possible untuk all of you here to get the data from your learning management system. Nanti kita akan tengok kat mana sebenarnya kan kita boleh tengok kita punya students participation online. Okay. So So this is number one that I would like to share with you. Okay, when we were having this face-to-face learning, I asked every time at the end of the class, I asked my students to write a simple reflection of what they have learned from the class that they had today, for example. And then cakap, you tulislah apa yang you belajar, whatever you feel. Okay, so they have to take out a piece of paper and then write a simple reflection. So this is an example of reflection that I get. So it says here, this class is exciting. The lecturer tells stories that makes this class and topic interesting. I do hope I am able to remember all that I have learned and will learn. Okay, jadi kita baca macam when you read it straight away, you were thinking that okay lah kot, these students was thinking that this class is exciting. Itu je yang kita nampak. And then tapi I was very concerned about the word remember. So these students, her aim is about remembering things. Okay, I am able to remember, I hope. So mungkin disebabkan oleh saya ni bercerita banyak sangat dalam kelas. Jadi mungkin sebab dia dengar sahaja kan. So dia harap dia boleh ingat apa yang dia dengar. So it shows that my class do not have a lot of doing things. Okay, maksudnya dia macam lah, akunya agaknya daripada 3 jam tadi macam like bebel je ke macam tu kan. So this is not a good reflection for me, okay, as a lecturer. So I was thinking, okay, I have to do something. Tapi kalau kita tak analyse betul-betul, tak baca betul-betul kita punya reflection ni, we will be thinking that everything is okay. So this is not okay. This is an example of things that is not okay. So what I wanted to draw your attention to is that how often do we reflect on our teaching? Okay, reflect tu satu hal lah. Saya tadi macam okay, dah reflect lah macam okay, I have to do something. Okay, but do you react accordingly? Dah tahu benda tu macam something is wrong, but did you react on it? What did you do to correct things? Okay, biasanya kita at the end of the semester kita buat CQI kan. But kita selalu tulis CQI kita tu. Tapi bila you buat next semester, did you really react on it? Okay, so this is actually teaching analytics. Okay, ini another example. Okay, saya buat activity online, and then I saw that I think I was giving them a very explicit instruction, and then the students are responding, and I was thinking, okay, so the students is responding to my discussion questions. Okay, so I was thinking, okay lah kot. I would say it is not okay at one glance. Tak okay kalau macam saya post question tapi tak ada siapa-siapa pun yang participate. So itu menyebabkan macam tak okay lah budak ni apa reason dia tak participate kan. But apparently macam dia participate, so I was thinking, okay, that's good enough for me. Okay, but is it sufficient? Adakah betul sebenarnya apa yang budak respond? Did we analyse apa yang dia respond tu? And then are we doing things correctly? Sebab bila daripada dia menjawab, mungkin dia cuma copy paste daripada somewhere else. So how did I reflect on the activities that I do, and then did I react on it again? Okay, that is the drive for us to understand what happened in our teaching and learning is what we call as teacher inquiry. Okay, it is a process conducted by teachers within the primary aim of understanding teaching and learning in context. Kalau kita tak ada drive tu, maksudnya macam kita tak ada keinginan pun nak tahu bahawa betul ke apa yang aku buat ni tadi macam okay ke. Tapi kalau kita just assume okay lah ni ada budak yang respon ni, okay lah ni kot. Tapi we don't bother about investigating more, like for example apa yang budak ni tulis, kenapa budak ni dia cakap something yang the student before dah cakap pun, kenapa dia tak baca ke apa yang kawan dia tulis macam tu. Kalau kita tak analyse and then kita tak ada keinginan pun nak melihat semula apa yang student-student kita buat, aktiviti kita ni sebenarnya okay ke tak okay, mungkin not explicit enough, budak pun main tulis je jawapan sebab tak kisahlah, yang penting aku buat macam tu. Okay, so if we don't have that kind of drive, that means that we do not have certain level of teacher inquiry. So what is teacher inquiry? Teacher inquiry is very important untuk kita reflect on the way we teach and the way how students learn. Okay, so it is a process conducted by teachers so that if they wanted to know more about their teaching and learning context. Okay, and then this inquiry ni, yelah kita kadang-kadang cakap bahawa our students ni tak nak menyiasat, semuanya nak tanya, nak bersuap je, tapi we ourselves have to have that kind of inquiry as well. Okay, so we should inquiry ni biasanya normally kita kena tahulah apa yang kita nak investigate, for example, and then what we want to look into. So you define your questions, and then bila dah tahu apa yang you nak tahu, when you have formulated the question, and then you make an action. So okay, I have this question, I want to know about the answer to this question, so this is what I should do. So that is number 3. And then you implement the things that you have planned, and then you evaluate, okay ke tak okay. So this whole process ni adalah proses yang biasa orang buat eksperimen ataupun biasa orang buat research, inquiry approach. So this is nothing new again. Okay, however, yang lain sikit dengan teaching analytics ni adalah you you implement action plan, and then you buat number 3 ni, you apply your knowledge to teaching practice through action plan ni based on data. Okay, based on data. Dan data tu you rancang you punya tindakan seterusnya. Tadi saya kata bahawa you kena react kan. You dah tahu, you already know what is happening, but we have to react on it. So but in teaching analytics you have to react on it based on data. Okay, so but nak pakai data apa? You have to have a certain competency about data literacy. So what is data literacy? So data literacy is about you know where you want to get the data location. Sorry, of course, first you have to have your question posing, of course. Okay, first you already have your question, and then bila you dah ada question itu, you tahu mana nak dapatkan data nak jawab soalan ni tadi. Okay, you already know that, okay, I know something is wrong. So that is, for example, my students is not engaging in my learning session. So where do I get the proof that my students is not engaging? Okay, kat mana nak dapat proof tu? So you have to know where the data is located. And then bila dah tahu data tu kat situ, macam okay, you have to understand data ni represent apa? Macam nombor-nombor ni represent apa? Okay. And then you have to interpret, bila nombor ni besar, apa maksud dia? Bila nombor ni kecil, apa maksud dia? Okay, apa maksudnya bila saya ada data yang dalam bentuk kolom-kolom macam ni? Okay, and then bila you dah interpret, okay, you know how to interpret, then only you can make decision to react based on the data. Okay, so this is basically what teaching analytics is. Dia beza sikit dengan learning analytics later on, but this is teaching analytics. To be able to react based on data, and to be able to react based on data, you have to have data literacy skills. I think this is a skill that all of us in the current generation ni sepatutnya ada lah, kita sepatutnya ada, sebab they say that data is gold right now. Okay, because we can learn a lot from data, but we have to know where should we find them, where can we find them, and then what do they represent, and what it means by that data, and then barulah kita boleh kata okay, data dia macam ni sebab itulah dia macam ni. Okay. Now, so teaching analytics ni actually adalah is a method and tools that teachers use to analyze teaching design to improve learning condition for their learners. Okay, jadinya sebenarnya apabila kita kata, orang kata pasal teaching analytics ni adalah dia boleh react based on when dia doing reflection, tapi dia menggunakan systematic way. Dia ada method dia sendiri, dia ada tools dia sendiri, and then dia analyze teaching design dia dengan harapan with the aim of they want to improve the learning condition. For example, today I ask my students to answer a question, to discuss something on a discussion forum. So that is my learning condition. And then after I have done that kind of activity with my students, Now I want to investigate. Okay ke saya buat? How well did I do? How well my teaching design is. Okay, jadi dia nak investigate how well the teaching design is. Apakah dia perlu menggunakan methods and tools yang sesuai. Dan biasanya teaching analytics tools biasanya adalah menggunakan lesson plan. Kenapa lesson plan? Sebab kat lesson plan itulah kita punya teaching design. Okay, so teaching analytics is basically you analyze your teaching design menggunakan you punya lesson plan. Tengoklah lesson plan you hari ni. Okay, yang ini rupanya I allocate 15 minutes. I should have allocate more. Yang ini terlalu student centered. Patutlah budak ni macam ni. Things like that. So you teaching analytics is about analyzing your teaching design dengan menggunakan method dan tools yang betul with the aim to improve your learning conditions among your learners. Okay. Bila kita analyse kita punya lesson plan tu, apa yang kita nak analyse? Okay, contoh, kita boleh analyse time allocation for teaching activities macam saya kata tadi. Kita buat aktiviti ni 15 minit. Okay, tu sebenarnya 15 minit tadi sebenarnya budak tengok nampak macam tak cukup 15 minit ni, dia kena 40 minit baru habis discuss. Maybe next time I should have 40 minutes of discussion. Okay, itu kita boleh tengok daripada, itu yang kita boleh analyse daripada kita punya lesson plan. Other than that, apa lagi kita boleh analyse daripada kita punya lesson plan? Kita boleh tengok orchestration of activities, assessment and educational objectives. Contoh macam tadi sebenarnya when I did my teaching, I wanted to have the students at the end of the day, they should be able to differentiate between this and that. But apparently my activities macam tak sesuai lah. Apparently I didn't get what I want daripada teaching activities tadi. Okay, so you can do that from lesson plan as well. And then you boleh tanya juga macam mana pelajar-pelajar ni tadi dia give feedback macam should I, that is what I did lah. Okay, I asked them, I asked my students to give feedback based on the way I teach. Itu pun boleh menjadi tools untuk kita analyse kita punya, itu pun boleh menjadi cara untuk kita nak analyse kita punya lesson plan. Ataupun kita tengok dalam lesson plan kita, is the number of activities sufficient? Macam yang ini maybe terlebih. Ni tadi terlebih sampai budak ni sebenarnya at the end of the day macam bila I assess dia, they are not able to demonstrate what I wanted them to learn at the end of the day. So these are examples of things that you can inquire yourself. Macam tadi kita kata bahawa kita nak reflect ni, we should be driven by the curiosity. So what kind of curiosity? Boleh this kind of curiosity you can use to drive your teaching analytics process. Okay. Now, tetapi kalau kita nak baca satu-satu kita punya lesson plan kan, memang tak ada masa lah kita nak baca hari-hari nak tengok lesson plan ni. So I understand, okay, it can be time consuming. Lepas tu mungkin bukan mengajar satu subjek, mengajar sampai 5-6 subjek. Okay, so there is this tool yang dinamakan sebagai learning designer. Nanti saya tunjukkan sekejap lagi. Learning designer ni is a website developed by UCL, and then it can tell you the allocation of time, sama ada okay ke tak okay. It can visualize for you, okay, the way you teach. Okay, itu satu tool. Saya selalu guna learning designer ni. Okay, nanti saya tunjukkan. Lesson plan creator pun menarik juga. Okay, tapi saya tak pernah guna yang ni. Tapi functionnya lebih kurang sama dengan learning designer. Begitu juga dengan common curriculum. So it's a tool that helps you to tengok dia macam tengok the orchestration of your education objective, you punya activities and you punya assessment. Jadi it helps you to analyse. Tak adalah you nak kena tengok satu-satu dalam lesson plan. Okay. Tapi hari ini for teaching analytics, I'm going to show you the learning designer platform. So this is the platform. Okay, saya buka dekat saya buka saya punya ni sekejap. Okay, this is the link. Saya share dekat ni Saya nak share dekat chat box. So this is the link. It's a free software. It's an open source punya application. Okay. When you go, okay. Okay, this is the one. All right. So, saya log out dulu. Okay, you can sign up untuk platform ni. Okay, dekat you can sign up. Okay, ini rupa dia. Okay, so you can log in. You boleh sign up lah. Then you boleh create account and so on. Okay, so this is my account. Okay, so this will be the interface. Okay, dia ada 3 part. You can create your own design, create your own lesson plan design. Tapi tadi macam saya kata tadi sebab teaching analytics ni is about analysing your lesson plan kan. Tapi you tak nak lah analyse your lesson plan ni macam manual. So this will help you to analyse your lesson plan secara visual. Okay. Lepas tu you boleh tengok juga orang lain punya lesson plan pun boleh. Okay. Contoh, ni contoh-contoh lesson plan yang ada lah kalau macam ni contohnya. Okay, boleh tengoklah macam-macam jenis lesson plan. Okay, contoh yang ni kita tengok. Okay, ni contoh lesson plan. Okay, yang ini contoh lesson plan dia you can key in the name of the lesson plan, and then dia ada topik dia, learning time dia, design time dia, the size of your class, the description about the class. Okay, lepas tu mode of delivery. You nak carry out your teacher learning tu entirely online ke, blended ke, entirely face to face ke. Lepas tu what is the aim of your lesson that day? What is the outcome that you aim to have that day? Okay, lepas tu dia akan tunjukkan, nampak tak kat sini? Dia akan visually present, okay, daripada lesson plan you kat bawah ni, berapa persen yang you spend untuk, nampak tak? Kecil sangat. Is this big enough? Okay. So, nampak kat sini dia kata 33% is spent on discussion. Kat sini 70% of the activities design is spent for acquisition of knowledge. 50% of the time of the activity spent in this lesson plan is for producing things. So kita tengok dia punya detail. So kat sini dia kata produce, okay? Masa dia 30 minit dan kat sini pelajar ni, the students you have to do it individually. Ini adalah, boleh browse over atau boleh tak nampak? Okay, nampak ni. Ada kecil kat situ, ada browse over screen tip tu, itu students. So students have to do this individually sebab satu je. Okay, yang ini logo ni bermaksud teacher is not present. So these students has to do individually and teacher is not present. And then they have to then this is being carried out online. Dan ianya dalam bentuk asynchronous dan ada satu view link resources. So ini detail of the activity that the students have to do. They have to prepare a mind map for explanation and share it on Padlet. So ini activity students producing something. Producing apa? Producing Padlet. And then how many minutes they have to spend? 30 minutes. Masa dia kat sini. Lepas tu, lepas dia dah prepare mind map, dia kena buat apa? Dia kena read, watch and listen. So this is passive, passive activity lah. So yang ini tadi adalah student centered. This is actually a little bit of teacher centered selama 10 minit. And then this is being done to 30 students. Teacher is present and it is face to face. Tadi ingat tak, tadi kat atas ni dia kata kelas ni blended. So ini dia buat online. Ini dia buat secara face to face. Nampak gambar bumi ni dia cross. Okay. And then face to face, lepas tu watch the teacher explain bla bla bla. Lepas teacher explain, yang ini dia kembali kepada discussing. So discussing, teacher is present, tetapi they have to do that in groups, okay, dan diberi masa 20 minit. So dia boleh tengok pecahan kat sini, how many hours, how many minutes, or your how the proportion of your learning activities yang kat mana yang passive, acquisition ni passive lah yang ini active, discussion, production pun active. Macam tu. So dia boleh bagi kita visualize. And then kita boleh tengok juga dekat analysis ni, okay. Dia tengok macam ni. Ini dia sebenarnya ada lead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 activities yang kita boleh pilih. Maksudnya pelajar kita ni kita nak suruh buat aktiviti yang jenis practice ke, suruh buat eksperimen ke, so that will be inquiry, suruh discuss ke, ataupun suruh work together ke, or acquisition. Acquisition ni adalah read, watch and listen. Okay, jadi kita tengok kat sini. Okay, percentage yang besar adalah production. So okay lah, kelas kita ni tak adalah teacher centered sangat. Okay, sebab 50% plus discussion, 83% of it is student centered, only 70% of the learning activities, of the learning time is spent for the students to listen, to sit down and listen to us. Tadi kita tengok 10 minit sahaja. So this give us some idea about the way we teach. Macam tu. Okay. Kalau kita nak buat sendiri pun boleh. You go to designer. Okay, ni yang saya buat untuk kelas saya lah. Okay, so name of my topic that I want to teach that day. Okay, week 3 arithmetic and logical operators. I teach basic introduction to programming language. So this is arithmetic and logical operators. Berapa learning time dia? Saya masukkan side of my class. Saya masukkan saya punya description. Description ni kadang-kadang aims dia sepatutnya kat sini. Learning objective biasanya letak kat sini. Kat sini mungkin boleh cakap students in my class is sport science students. Okay. So sebab biasanya saya akan mengajar 2 cohort. Satu is sport science student teacher, satu lagi pelajar-pelajar tester. So kadang-kadang mereka ni they have different way of understanding things. Macam tu. Pelajar yang tester ni dia lebih suka dengar. Okay, kalau sport science students ni dia memang janganlah bagi dia mendengar, namun pelajar sport science jadi they like to do. So I can kalau saya letak description kat sini, I have better idea on planning my teaching and learning punya activities lah. Ni TLA ni adalah teacher and learning activities. So saya boleh letak mode of delivery saya wholly online ke, blended ke, classroom based ke, location based ke, or other. Okay, and then I put that as wholly online. And then this is my learning objective. Saya masukkan outcome dia. Okay, and then saya pun mulalah menulis saya punya teaching and learning activities. So saya tulis kat sini, okay, yang pertama saya nak, saya kat dalam ni sebenarnya saya ada 3 objektif yang saya nak capai on that day. The ability to differentiate between logical and arithmetic operators. Lepas tu dia boleh solve problem and saya nak assess mereka. So yang ini, saya nak suruh dia orang buat aktiviti apa? Okay, saya pilih kat bawah ni. Read, watch, listen ke, collaborate ke, discuss ke, investigate ke, practice ke, produce. Okay, so because I want them to read, watch and listen, okay, so I choose read, watch and listen. So they have to do that within 5 minutes. Contoh. 5 minit tak sempat sebenarnya nak read. Okay, katakanlah 10 minit. And then lepas tu they have to do that individually. Okay, kalau satu-satulah. Okay, individually. Teacher is not present. Kalau teacher present, saya klik kat sini, dia akan on kan teacher present, but teacher is not present. And this is to be carried out online. And this is asynchronous. Kalau kita klik, dia jadi synchronous. Kalau kita unklik, dia jadi asynchronous. Okay, and then saya attachkan apa benda yang saya nak suruh dia. Inilah saya ada dia punya attachment dia. Apa benda yang saya nak suruh dia ni. Notes on operator saya dah upload saya kat sini. Okay. Right, and then kemudian selepas mereka buat ni, saya tambah satu lagi teaching and learning activities, iaitu they have to solve problems, 2 problems in groups. Okay, this one, macam tu. And then, so that's why I put here discuss, and then they have to produce. Lepas discuss, they have to produce the solution. Kadang-kadang, sometimes we forget to allocate time for them to produce something. So for example, sometimes we tell them, okay, I want you to discuss in group, blah, blah, blah. Lepas tu at the end of the day kita cakap, okay, what is the product of your discussion? Tapi kita tak bagi dia masa to produce something yang kita nak minta tu dia produce. Okay, so kadang-kadang kita discuss tapi tak ada masa pun untuk dia produce. End up macam mereka tak bersedia dan kita pun rasa macam I'm not satisfied with the way you present your solution to me, macam tu. But you should have in mind that you have to allocate time for them to produce something that you expected, kan? I kata I want you to discuss, lepas tu present to me. Present to me, masa untuk present tu tak bagi, untuk dia produce the presentation tu tak bagi. So this is how we learn. Okay, so discuss satu hal, nak produce solution tu satu hal lepas discuss, kan? Kalau tidak dia akan menjadi cakap-cakap saja dan tak ada apa-apa. Okay, and then I want to assess them, so I want them to practice something. And then I want them to listen to me again when I sum up my lesson and present the answers to the solution that I asked them to discuss in groups just now. Okay, so saya pun save. Okay, and then dia pun bagilah saya the proportion of the activities, teaching and learning activities that I have. Okay, tengok di warna lah ni Kalau warna bright blue ni, this is acquisition. So they spend read, watch and listen. Nah ini macam lama lah juga ni, 40% of it. Okay, but they produce, so 20% is spent on producing something, then dia kena practice, then dia kena discuss. So okay lah, 20 campur 20 campur 20. 60% is spent is student centered, and 40% is teacher centered. Okay lah kan, lebih daripada majority. Itu pun dah almost 50-50 macam nak teacher centered kepada student centered. So this is how it helped us to see how the way we design our teaching and learning, where are we? Okay. Ada soalan tak sebelum saya move on? We have question? Ada soalan? Tak ada soalan. Okay. So I think this is a very good tool for us to reflect on the way we teach and how we have been teaching. Tak payahlah mungkin buat every time tapi mungkin once in a while cubalah check masa cara kita mengajar hari tu sebenarnya apa benda yang kita buat tu kat mana kita. Okay, so we spend a lot on kita cakap lah student centered tapi sebenarnya most of it adalah teacher centered. Okay. So cuba guna yang ini to somehow once in a while check the way you teach. Okay, tak perlulah buat ni I can understand our limitation, our time limitation. Okay, so that is one example. Okay, so you can use this example, this tool to check your teaching your lesson plan. Okay, now we move on to learning analytics. So what is learning analytics? Yang tadi tu adalah teaching analytics. Is about teacher analyzing the way they teach, okay, and react on it. Okay, so what is learning analytics? Learning analytics ni pula adalah you measure, you collect, you analyze, and then you reportkan sekali the data about your learners and their context for the purpose of understanding and optimizing learning. Okay, yang tadi kita teacher analytics is methods and tools that we use to analyze teaching design to improve learning. Okay, yang ini adalah measurement, collection, analysis and reporting of data about learners for the purpose of understanding and optimizing learning. Okay, so kita cuba nak faham macam mana pelajar itu belajar supaya kita boleh optimizekan the way they learn by doing systematic way of researching lah. Sebenarnya measurement, collection, analysis and reporting is about doing research. Okay, so that is learning analytics. Okay, kenapa learning analytics ni is important? Okay, number one is because students comes from different background, they have different interests, and students have different learning needs. When they have too many variables, okay, kita ni each and every one of us are unique and we are not robot. We are human, so each and every one of us are unique. Our students are unique. So that's why kita ni sebenarnya bila kita nak accommodate, when we wanted to accommodate our individual students' needs, susah sebenarnya. Student kita bukannya seorang. We have so many students in our class that we have to cater to. So that's why learning analytics ni membolehkan kita cuba faham secara general based on data the trend of our student. Macam tu. Okay, so we try to understand that. Tetapi sebenarnya with artificial intelligence, for example, we are able to predict setiap seorang budak ni sebenarnya dia punya learning performance dia macam mana based on current data. Contoh, si Ali ni kalau contoh datang sekolah pun kurang contohnya, and then lepas tu kita tengok markah quiz dia pun rendah, tetapi the way dia interact dekat dalam online tu sangat rigorous, dia sangat aktif sebenarnya. There will be machine learning yang boleh tolong predict dengan behavior yang macam ni, Ali ni nanti at the end of the day dia boleh score ke tidak subjek ni, contoh. So that is what learning analytics do. Okay, so dengan that kind of prediction, lecturer yang mengajar ni they can somehow, okay, I do not need to worry about this student because based on the data that I have, that the machine learning supplies to me, it seems that this student is doing okay, although dia punya quiz score dia rendah and everything. Okay, dan kita tengok pula data orang seterusnya. Okay, yang ini walaupun skor dia tinggi tetapi dia punya participation dia rendah. So what should I do next? Macam tu. Okay, so machine learning allows us to understand more about our individual student tanpa kerja yang banyak sikit lah, sebab dia dah tolong buatkan, dah tolong understand the data for us. Okay, so what kind what kind of data yang biasanya what kind of data yang biasanya machine learning helps us to understand? So it can be in the type of static and dynamic data. Static data ni biasanya adalah data yang tak akan berubah. For example, students' address, students' country of origin, students' ID, those are the things that we call as static data. Dynamic data is data that can change over time. For example, today our students, the way they interact is very rigorous. Hari ni kita bagi forum ni, they interact very well. Esok kita bagi forum juga, tetapi somehow dia it doesn't they don't interact as frequent as yesterday. So dia punya data tu tak static. Okay, so although we give them the same activity, but the way they interact, the frequency of interaction is different across time. Okay, itu yang kita masukkan dengan dynamic data. So dynamic data can be in the form of, for example, students' engagement, their learning performance. Today they perform well, next day they don't perform that well. Their interaction with friends, their behavior in learning online. So their behavior in learning in general, so that is dynamic data. Okay, so from this kind of data yang kita collect ini, kita cuba understand how can we improve or optimize their learning based on our understanding about this dynamic and static data. Macam tu. Okay, yang bagusnya sebenarnya kita cuba correlatekan budak data static dia dengan data dynamic lah. Contoh, budak ni dia interact very well with their friends. Lepas tu kita comparekan pula dengan dia punya static data. Oh, patutlah dia ni datang daripada these students of origin, dia ni students from overseas. She was educated overseas. So maybe culturally dia telah she was trained or kat sana to be more outspoken, so she likes to talk macam tu kan. Jadi kalau kita boleh correlate kan, then that will be wonderful lah antara dynamic data and static data. Okay, tapi kadang-kadang we do not have that kind of opportunity because sometimes we don't have all the data about our students to understand our students better. Okay, so this is from what I read. This is why teachers use learning analytics sometimes. They use learning analytics because they found that using learning analytics helps them to understand their students better. Okay, and this is influenced by their friends because they look at their friends, and then when their friends say that you know what, when I use learning analytics, it seems like it make life easier for me, for example. So that is why the reason teachers use learning analytics. But there are also teachers who feel like, you know, dah lah kena mengajar and then I have to analyze the way they learn pula. Ni dah jadi macam additional workload for them. Okay, why should I use this? Why should I bother doing this? Okay, there are things like that. Okay, the good thing is that kalau for example UUM ada budget lebih, okay, this is learning analytics dashboard. Okay, learning analytics dashboard, kalau kita tengok tadi dekat teaching analytics, dia ada pie chart macam tu, simple je sebenarnya. Untuk kita dapat anggaran, kita punya percentage of teaching design kita ni macam mana. Okay, kita ada 50% production lah, benda tu sama. This is, itu teaching analytics. Ini adalah learning analytics dashboard. Ianya bermaksud, it shows us how our students are doing. Okay, macam saya kata tadi, so dia akan tolong visualisekan, okay, contoh di student Garcia, okay, dia ada buat individual work ke tidak, dia ada buat collaborative work ke tidak, and what are the results. Okay, dia akan visualisekan macam ni kan. Ini 0%, 100%. So ada seorang lagi Antonio, Raquel. So kalau kita boleh installkan learning analytics dashboard ini dalam kita punya online learning management system, senanglah cikgu kita, pensyarah kita nak tengok saja, okay, daripada graf ni nampak macam Garcia ni tak participate langsung. So I should prompt Garcia. Macam tu je lah. Tak payah susah payah nak analyse satu-satu tadi. Macam saya kata tadi, understanding student static data lah, dynamic data lah, tak payah. Okay, kita boleh tengok saja visually daripada dashboard, and then we see how the students are doing. Okay. Okay, so kita daripada data-data tadi kita boleh faham, we will be able to discover patterns from the students' data. We'll be able to predict future trends. For example, here, the machine learning or the dashboard will be able to predict, will be able to tell us, okay, if you are performing in such a way, Garcia, you know, at the end of the semester, you will be performing in this course, for example. So the analytics will be able to tell you that. So it can predict future trends in students' progress. They can also recommend teaching and learning action. So based on the way the students are progressing, for example, if they tell us that, you know, Garcia is at the risk of dropping out, okay, so what should we as teachers do? Okay, and then sometimes there are learning analytics that can recommend to us, okay, because this student is at the risk of dropping out, you should tell this student to do A, B, C, D. That is recommending teaching and learning action. Itu memang artificial intelligence yang betul-betul hebat. So itu kita namakan sebagai prescriptive learning analytics. Okay, and if you remember, if you use this tool very frequently, which is at Puzzle Kahoot, dia pun ada, they also have their own visualization board that you can analyze the data based on these students' performance. You know, I had 3 or 5 quizzes with them. So did you ever analyze from these 5 quizzes that you have with your students, who has been performing consistently well, who has been, you know, the performance has been fluctuating, who has been constantly performing poor, or you don't really bother, you just do. Okay, so I'm afraid that all of us, what we do is that we just use the tool and we don't bother to reflect on, okay, budak ni dah 5 kali dah buat quiz ni, tapi dia punya markah dia 5 ni semua poor. Okay, so this is very important. Okay, analyzing the way our students' behavior. This is what I wanted to highlight. Okay, and there are 3. Sebenarnya ada 4 types learning of analytics. Macam tadi, as I said, yang kalau dashboard yang ini, dia cuma describe. This is descriptive learning analytics. It tells us, okay, how the students are performing. What did the students do? Macam tu. But they don't tell us the prediction. Okay, if this student is currently performing in such way, So in the future, so what? Okay, this learning analytics dashboard didn't tell us that. They just describe to us what the students are doing. This is what we call as descriptive learning analytics. Okay. And the next one, if the dashboard of the learning analytics dashboard tell us what will happen in the future based on a certain description, then we call that as predictive learning analytics. Okay, they will predict and tell us what will happen based on this data. Okay, yang advanced punya learning analytics adalah based on that prediction, okay, the student is at the risk of dropping out, dia akan propose pula kepada kita, okay, because of this students is at the risk of dropping out, so you should do ABCD. That is prescriptive learning analytics. Okay. This is an example of descriptive learning analytics. Saya kata smart class dashboard ni. Kalau UUM nak install kat dalam learning management system, boleh install. Okay. This one is a dashboard that describe to lecturers what happened to that specific student. Okay. So budak ni dia start date bila, dia punya activity dia 70% dan 60% adalah indicator dia. So this just describe about the way the students learn. Okay, this one is descriptive as well. Yang ini adalah dia predict students punya status in the future based on the way they interact. Yang ini adalah student saya, ini adalah tool yang UTM install. Okay, di dalam learning analytics, dalam kami punya dashboard. Okay, so dia predict students ini sama ada at risk ataupun not at risk. So apparently my student yang ini they are not at risk. They predict. Tapi bila dia not at risk ni, dia tak pula cadangkan kalau not at risk ni, okay, what should I do next? Biarkan je ke ataupun tak payah buat apa-apa ke? Okay, so no, this tool did not tell me what should I do next if a student is at risk or a student is not at risk. This tool, ni nama dia fish tree tool, dia predict dan dia propose, dia prescribe, bagi pula cadangan ubat yang patutnya kita bagi kepada pelajar if the students in performing in such way. Okay, so kat sini dia kata dia ada tulis grade kat sini. Okay, lepas tu kita boleh tekan remediate kat sini. Kita cuba tekan kat situ and then kita boleh simulate kalau saya suruh dia improve more score dekat mana and then will they get an A, macam tu. Dia akan kita boleh play around with this remediation and katakanlah kita nak pelajar ni supaya dia dapat A for example, so kita tekan remediate and then dia akan propose lagi mana satu yang perlu ditingkatkan supaya dia ni boleh dapat A. Jadinya mungkin okay, saya kena ajar dia ni lebih on substitution apparently. Okay, macam tu. So this one not many tools are available in the market that can help us to give prescription, yang boleh bagi prescription on what should we do next. Ni jenis-jenis learning analytics. Okay, so they use this learning analytics biasanya sepatutnya to engage our students lah, and then to elaborate and evaluate balik semula dengan pelajar mereka what should they do next. Okay, tapi based on research it is also says that sometimes because of because of all these activities kan, it creates more confusion. Sebab dia kata macam ni, in this research it says that these teachers, they assume, for example, I thought this student is doing well. Apparently, based on learning analytics, this student is at the risk of dropping out. So dia ada certain confusion, okay, kat situ. Because kita ni sekarang ni bila kita tak buat based on data ni, kita akan assume, kan, kita assume, oh yang ni okay kot budak ni, dia macam banyak bercakap kat dalam kelas, dia selalu tanya soalan. But that doesn't mean that they are not at the risk of dropping out. So that's why in this research, learning analytics has created certain level of confusion kepada cikgu-cikgu ni. It turns out different turns of events. Okay, I thought this student is doing well. Rupanya based on data, dia sebenarnya is not doing well. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and it is important as well for students as well. Okay, kalau macam tadi, it seems like the teacher is using the learning analytics dashboard to reflect on or to understand how the students is progressing in learning. But actually, for students, it is very important as well, because then the students are able to know where are they right now? Are they progressing well? Okay, so the students are able to reflect on their learning as well. Okay, ini saya tunjukkan contoh kat UTM lah. Tadi saya kata bahawa we have this tool, this analytic tool that can predict the risk of dropping out, and then but this is entirely based on the way they interact in the online learning platform that UTM has. That means that, for example, if this student is studying diligently offline, of course lah data tu kita tak dapat nak kumpul, because this data, this prediction is entirely based on how they are interacting online. But this data gives some idea to the lecturers, to prompt them to participate in the things that they have online. But because due to the pandemic and the learning activities depends entirely on the learning platform, so we were thinking that this prediction gives us a good idea about how the students are doing. Okay, so this prediction, kalau tanya, is based on apa? It gives prediction based on whether the students are socially present and cognitively present. Ini dia punya underlying theory yang membuatkan prediction ni tadi. This means that if the students are socially present and cognitively present, then they are not at the risk of dropping out. Tapi kalau their cognitive presence and social presence are low, then the system will prompt the students and the teacher that they are at the risk of dropping out. Macam mana dia kira? Dia macam ni. Okay. So here we have tadi cognitive presence and social presence. Jadi apa yang dia buat adalah, ini adalah icon-icon. These are all the icons in Moodle platform. Okay, I'm sure all of you are familiar with this icon as well. Okay, yang ini adalah icon untuk book code. Ini, okay, yang ini untuk yang ini adalah untuk link or is it resources? Yang ini adalah untuk file. Okay, so kalau student itu, if that student is doing this activity, this kind of activity, any one of this activity, this means that the students is socially engaged individually. Nampak ada satu je gambar orang kat sini, icon orang kat sini. Okay, and cognitively they are only viewing. Betul lah, so sebab nota ni kalau kita baca masukkan file, dia baca saja kan. Okay, tak ada active engagement pun, so that's why it occurs individually, dan this activity will be scored 1. Okay, kalau student tu engage in this kind of activity, okay, here this is an icon for survey, feedback rasanya, feedback. Okay, this is for lesson, icon for lesson. Okay, if the students engage in any of this, ini adalah icon untuk checklist, A, B, C, D, E, F ni. If any of the student is engaged in any of this activity, they are engaged bersama dengan konten. Nampak ada gambar icon ni dengan ada gambar alamat tertutup kat sini. Ada gambar something kat sini. So they are engaged in content kat sini. Okay, and then level dia adalah 2. So ni garisan 2. Ni point dia 2, ni pun 2. Macam tu. So socially breadth dia dekat level 2, dia punya cognitive depth dia pun dekat level 2. Okay, and so on. Okay, jadi for a student untuk dapat markah tinggi lah for and at not the risk of dropping out, okay, dia kena engage dengan aktiviti yang level sini ataupun ini. Saya tak sure apa maksud icon ni. Okay, so but this one depends on entirely how the teachers design the online learning environment. Kalau pensyarah tu dia tak ada pun buat aktiviti forum kat sini. This is forum, right? This is chat. then this is big blue button. Kalau dia tak ada buat activity forum kat sini, okay, jadi benda ni the way they calculate the risk of dropping out, mungkin pensyarah mungkin banyak buat aktiviti yang jenis macam ni je, okay. Tapi dia still akan kata, dan pelajar tu dia buat semua aktiviti yang pensyarah dia arahkan, jadi dia student tu still at not the risk of dropping out. Tapi kalau pensyarah tu ada buat semua aktiviti ini and then ada 1-2 aktiviti kat sini, tapi pelajar tu dia tak participate in aktiviti ini, dan dia buat yang ini saja, and then system will prompt that the student is at the risk of dropping out based on the score. Dia pakai score macam tu. Okay, so this is how the prediction in that tool makes sense. Okay, so this is how this is what we have at UTM. And then pensyarah tu akan diberi insight. Okay, dan pensyarah tu kena maklumkanlah sama ada the prediction whether it is useful or not, so that to train the machine lah to be able to predict better. So this is just for the machine to learn better based on the data. Okay, this is my example. Berapa kita okay, 10. Right. So this is my example. Okay, saya pakai data ni dekat e-learning sahaja. Okay, I want to know how students engage online in my course, and how does that relate to their performance, and then saya nak tengok dia punya engagement itu boleh predict ke tidak dia punya performance. So I just gather all the data dekat dalam ni. Saya tak buat formal research pun, tapi I just use the 5 process of inquiry. Saya formulate saya punya question, and then I collect data, I get the data, and then I analyze that. Okay, and I later put that into a paper to report that one. So it's just a simple one. Okay, so ini aktiviti yang saya memang buat kat dalam e-learning saya, dalam online learning saya. Saya ada notes, saya ada video lesson. So this video lesson is the video lesson that I recorded. Saya ada buat quiz, saya ada buat exercise, saya buat assignment and homework, saya ada learning activities, and I have their final grade score. Okay, so I want to see daripada banyak-banyak ni sebenarnya, mana satu sebenarnya yang menyumbang kepada budak-budak yang dapat A ni kat dalam kelas saya, supaya next semester saya tahu nak lebihkan yang mana for my students to be able to perform better. Okay, then saya collect lah dia punya overall frequency of occurrences. Nanti I akan tunjukkan pada all of you how can you do this exactly the same thing like what I'm currently doing. Okay, so I collect ni dia punya video resources, dia view data berapa ramai, berapa kali, and then dia participate in learning activities berapa banyak kali, dia buat exercise berapa banyak kali, and so on. Okay, and then I have 71 students, and then I just divide my students into 3 group. Okay, so 23 group of students is I group them into high performing group, yang the middle 23 into middle group, and low performing students there are 25 of them. So I divide them based on median lah, macam tu je lah. Okay, so this is how it turns out. Okay, and then when I predict, so I did predictive analytics. I tak buat descriptive analytics. So this is ni basically descriptive analytics lah, describe. Tapi saya taklah describe dalam bentuk graph ke apa ke. So I just describe in table, macam tu je lah. Dan saya tak buat satu seorang-seorang budak. Okay. So I do some data mining, and it turns out that students who perform, who are in a high performing group, okay, these are the things that they do. They do quiz, they attempt quiz more than 220 times. They view notes, okay, they access to notes, they buat assignment, and then they review exercises more than 4 times. Then they are in the high performing group. Dan ada juga budak yang group in the high performing group apabila they attempt more quizzes dan they review more notes. So ini pun budak high performing group. Lain-lain, kalau you attempt quiz sahaja tapi tak buat benda-benda lain ni, apparently you are in a medium group. So this is my result lah. So apparently I came to know that, you know, this having a lot of formative assessment can help students to learn better online. So this is what I propose from the way I understand my students, the way my students engage in my course. Okay, itulah. And then saya buatlah sikit correlation and so on. But this is just the way I report things. Okay. Now, in your learning management system, kita tengok kat sini you can do the same. So you can try to understand how your students learn as well, like I do by here. Okay, tengok dalam kelas masing-masing. Okay, contoh, we use the same learning management system. So when you open your course, okay, kat sini dia ada button gear kat sini. Okay, so these are the activities that I have. Okay, dia ada button gear ke atas ni. Pergi kepada more. Okay, tadi saya dah tengok yang UUM punya reports dia kat tepi sini. But mine the reports is here. Pergi kat reports, pergi dekat logs. Nak pergi kat logs boleh, pergi kat activity report pun boleh, pergi kat course participation pun boleh. Okay, kita tengok logs dulu. Okay, tengok sini Ini kursus kita. Sama ada kita nak tengok logs untuk all participant ke ataupun kita nak tengok logs untuk specific student. Contoh, saya nak tengok logs untuk Muhammad Zafar. All days. Nak tengok untuk all activity ke apa ke. So I think all activities and all action. I don't care what did she do. I just want what did he do. I want to look at all. And I click on get these logs. Okay, these are the things that Muhammad Zafar Iqbal has been doing in my course. Gitu. Ni dia buat assignment, dia buat quiz. Okay. Apa lagi? Dia pun attempt quiz quite a lot of time. Dia view quizzes, dia ada 14 muka surat punya activity. This is learning analytics tapi bentuk dia tak cantik lah. Tak adalah dashboard yang tolong visualizekan Muhammad Zafar Iqbal bentuk dia macam mana. But when you go to Muhammad Zafar Iqbal here, the profile, you'll be able to see, kat sini ada reports juga. Okay, you tengok dekat statistics dia. Kat sini dia view berapa, dia all activity dia apa. Gitu. On all this. Okay. So if you want to investigate, tengok certain budak lah, you rasa macam concern kan budak ni macam apa salah dah berapa lama ni dia tak datang kelas ke apa ke. Tengok dia sebenarnya dia tak datang kelas maybe but he or she is currently very active in engaging tapi bukanlah masa kita tengah mengajar there and then. Okay, kadang-kadang kita buat a lot of asynchronous activity but you know you somehow rasa macam very judgmental kan terhadap student kita kan, dia tak tidak budak ni buat tidak apa yang kita suruh. So you can look here. So this is the proof that they are at least engaging in the activities that we carry out. Okay. Now, can I have one volunteers from UEM here, from one of our participants here? Can you volunteer to show your learning management system so that all of us can see from yang UUM punya system lah, bukan daripada UTM punya system. Can we have one volunteer? Dr. Hafiza ada tak tadi? Dr. Hafiza boleh ke Dr. Hafiza tunjukkan? Dr. Hafiza punya kursus.
Okey, sekejap Nak share screen dulu ke?
Ya, boleh.
So sekarang saya akan pergi kepada course saya. Okey, kemudian pergi kepada setting tadi dan pilih more. Kemudian kita pergi kepada logs.
Ya. Okey. Get
Okay.
this.
Okey, ini adalah maklumatnya.
Okay. Cari nama pelajar doktor seorang. Ini nama doktor banyak kan? Ke bawah lagi.
Okay. Saya pilih Chai Chin
Okay. So kita pergi tengok dekat, oh you all tak ada button statistik kat situ. Okay, so somehow nanti mungkinlah bolehlah TBUM boleh take note lah, tak ada button statistik. Jadi saya tak ada visualization macam saya Saya punya tadi. But you can look at, try tengok dekat complete report. So these are the things that she did lah. Okay, pergi tengok balik semula back tadi doktor. Sebab kalau macam saya punya tadi dia ada visualization kan. Jadi you all boleh tengok lah, okay budak ni secara generalnya adalah participate macam tu.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Pak,
Ya.
kalau saya nak tengok statistik student, biasa sebab saya mengajar guna Microsoft Teams. Dalam Microsoft Teams tu ada data di dalam dia punya report lah, dan report dia
betul.
pun ada visualization.
Ada komprehensif
pun
kan? Ya betul. Dia selepas session tu kita boleh tengok.
Okey.
Tapi yang ni pun okey jugalah yang ni. Yang ni boleh tengok when did she access kan, ni tadi kat bahagian apa tadi doktor? Tengok kejap. I think all logs saya tadi. Kita tekan dekat all logs ke? Ya dekat all logs. So dekat all logs ni tadi kita tengok ada visualization dia macam ni. Okey lah ni, give us some idea. Kita bukan nak analyse satu-satu pun. Kita cuma kadang-kadang nak pinpoint certain student yang kita rasa macam adakah dia ni is doing okay or not. Dan kita boleh tengok terus kat sini macam okey lah. Walaupun dia tak attend kelas saya, tapi apparently she did do the work that we assign dan buat sebagainya. Okay. Ke bawah sikit doktor. Okay. Boleh tak pergi ke atas sikit tu, dia ada show chart data. Yang tepi kiri sekali. Okay. Ni kalau nak tengok dia punya dalam bentuk ni lah kita mungkin tengoklah bila kan. Jadi kita so these kind of things kadang-kadang membuat kita rasa lebih empathy lah kepada student dan tidak menuduh student kita yang bukan gitulah So we can see kadang-kadang dia tak access there and then semasa kelas kita. Musim-musim pandemik ni kadang-kadang dia access a little bit late, lepas dia dah ada free time, and sometimes kita boleh tengok juga daripada trend pelajar-pelajar ni biasanya dia access weekend ke apa ke. Jadi mungkin sebenarnya tu macam Wednesday 7 Julai tu kelas doktor keesokan harinya ke doktor? Kelas doktor ni?
Ya kot, tak ingat dan last time.
Kalau kadang-kadang biasanya kelas kita keesokan harinya, biasanya hari sebelum tu akan tinggi. Ataupun kadang-kadang hari itu juga biasanya itu biasanya akan hari itu tinggilah. Kadang-kadang hari nak exam, itu kadang-kadang kita punya tu tinggilah tu. Esok nak exam ke kan. Jadi time tu dia baru nak scroll kita punya ni. Jadi this give us some idea about how our students are doing. Okay. Kita boleh pergi balik semula. Kita pergi dekat bahagian tu tadi balik semula. Bahagian cross participation. Okay, tak apa. Saya share dulu saya punya ni. Nanti saya tunjukkan. Doktor jangan tutup dulu Saya share screen saya dulu. Okay. Alright. Okay. Jadi macam ni. Okay. Tadi bila kita pergi dekat kursus kita juga okay. Okay. Bila kita boleh juga we can also look at their course participation in specific. Tadi all logs kan, jadi mungkin macam there is no need for us to look at all the logs. Di login bila tu semua kita tak nak tahulah maybe. So you can go to maybe specific activity report. You mungkin kata bahawa I expect you do certain activity. Sama log reader available pula. Okay. Ataupun kita tengok kat course participation. Sekejap. Kat course participation somehow kita boleh tengok juga for certain activity lah tadi. Okay. Okay, contoh kita nak ada assignment tu biasanya senang lah kita nak detect dia akan button assignment kan. Okay, kalau katakanlah for example I have concept test. Concept test ni biasanya saya buat yang saya tulis quizzes tadi dekat dalam saya punya data tu tadi. Inilah data semua ni. So quizzes ni sebenarnya saya at the end of every lesson saya akan buat concept test. Okay, jadi maybe concept test yang ini, for example, saya tak nak show only student, then I can go dan kita tengoklah maybe siapa yang ada attempt ke, tak ada attempt ke dan sebagainya, macam tu. Okay, yang ni saya specific time. Okay, right, and then okay, daripada tadi yang ini tadi dia describe, this data describe about how our students are doing. Tapi data saya tadi yang saya tunjuk contoh tadi, dia predict pula assessment, dia predict pula dia punya performance. Okay, kalau saya buat secara manualnya, okay, saya download semua data ni. Okay, ni saya nak macam dah buat research dah pula sikit tapi tak apalah, saya harap berguna lah. Okay, saya pergi kat sini semua ni, okay, all these logs ni, saya tekan get these logs. Okay, dan dia akan keluarkan semua tadi. Kat bawah tu dia akan ada button download as CSV. Ni ada 363 muka surat. Okay, data yang daripada CSV inilah yang saya analyse di dalam software WK yang saya minta you all download tu tadi. Okay, so maybe this is a little bit out of context lah, mungkin macam not necessary for all of you. So for all of you yang just berminat nak tahu how your students are performing, so kita boleh stop dekat bahagian kat sini lah. I just want you to show that you can check on how your students are performing dekat sini, dekat reports ni, by understanding dia punya the way they assess. Tapi kadang-kadang bila dia tak ada visualization, kita susah sikit nak tengok kan budak ni macam mana dia behave. Tapi tadi somehow tadi dah ada log reports tadi, jadi boleh tengok lah macam ni. Yang tadi kan ada statistik tadi. Okay. Kalau saya kata tadi for my ni, saya buka sekejap. Okay, so data tadi saya dah download. Okay, ni kalau you nak go to further analyze your data lah Okay, so you boleh, data location tadi dah tahu, ingat tak? Tadi kita ada yang ni, kita dah ada question. Saya kata which online learning behavior, daripada mereka access quiz lah, mereka buat itulah, mereka buat inilah dalam kita punya online learning environment. Daripada diorang punya online learning behavior ni, mana satu yang boleh trigger mereka punya learning performance. Okay, so katakanlah itu question kita, and then kita pun dah tahu mana nak cari data kita. So this is the question that I want to answer. So saya dah tahu mana nak cari data saya pergi dekat log report tu tadi, saya download report tu, saya cuba faham, saya faham apa data tu represent. Macam ni tadi, bahawa kita tengok yang data tu adalah setiap satu number tu kadang-kadang dia kata course view, kadang-kadang dia kata quiz view. So kadang-kadang quiz attempt dan quiz view tu berbeza. Quiz view tu maksudnya dia tengok saja tapi dia tak cuba buat. Jadi itu you have to understand lah. Okay, kadang-kadang budak ni dia tengok saja tapi dia tak buat. And then ataupun dia edit ke, dia delete ke. So that one you have to understand what your data is. Lepas you understand what your data is, you kena understand what your data means. Okay, bila budak ni tadi access quiz tu terlalu frequent, apa maksudnya? Okay, you have to understand as well within your own context. Okay, lepas tu lah barulah kita buat decision, should I have more of these activities in the future ataupun tak, ataupun budak-budak ni tak sepatutnya buat aktiviti ni in the future or not. Okay, so to understand instructional decision making ni, itu yang saya nak ajar. Ambil data-data pelajar ini, okay, dekat dalam you all punya learning management system, you download that in CSV. Ini download dia CSV. Ini macam boleh jadi sorter lah. Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, you download dia, data dia in the form of CSV. Lepas tu you preparekan data dia dalam WK ni. This is how you prepare data. You kena tuliskan you punya ini nanti. Kalau nak saya tunjukkan general saja, kalau nak detail kita memang kena ada workshop on this one. Okay, you preparekan data dia dalam bentuk macam ni. So satu garis ni, one line represents one student. Okay, one student, tapi yang ini data on weather. This data is on weather forecast, and this data helps me to predict whether saya nak pergi keluar bermain ataupun tidak, depending on the weather. Okay, supaya contohnya kalau hari ni hujan, saya patut keluar bermain ke tidak? Jadi katalah saya ni sebenarnya nak bergantung kepada prediction of machine saja. I want the robot to tell me, okay, should I go out and play today? Robot akan kata no. Dia kata no tu adalah based on apa? Based on weather forecast. Whether it is sunny, overcast or rainy, ataupun the temperature, ataupun the humidity of it, and whether it is windy or not. And then dia akan predict bahawa should I go out and play. So, ini adalah data setiap hari yang dikumpul. One day equals to one line. Okay, kalau data pelajar kita, one line data ni represent one student lah. Okay, saya tunjukkan data saya. Okay, so yang kat sini result dia bila kita dah prepare data kita macam ni daripada format CSV tadi. Okay, and then dia akan predict kan. Weka software tu akan predict kan. Okay, if the weather is sunny, and the temperature for humidity is more than 75, then I should not go out and play. No, it says no. But it is sunny and the humidity is less than 75 or equal to 75, then I should go out and play. Macam tu. Kalau it is rainy and windy, which is true, then I should not go out and play. Kalau it is rainy but not windy, then I should go out and play. Tapi kadang-kadang sebenarnya data-data macam ni, prediction ni kadang-kadang based on preference jugalah. Kadang-kadang saya memang suka bermain dalam hujan dan ketika windy, kan? Macam itulah. So sometimes it is based on how we train our machine to understand us better. Macam itulah. Yang ini dia buat sebagai logik akal. Kalau it is rainy and it is windy, biasanya orang tak keluar main bola or something like that. Okay, so this is so we can do in such a way so that you can dapat macam saya ni. So macam saya, data saya adalah budak yang performance dia tinggi tu adalah kerana they frequently attempt and visit quizzes more than 250 times, dan dia view notes kurang daripada or equal to 268 times, then they are more likely to be in the high performing group. Ini yang data saya baca daripada senarai CSV yang panjang-panjang tu tadi. Okay, up to here. Ada soalan tak? Sebentar saya buka sekejap saya punya data ni. You have a question? Okay. Dr. Faizah boleh tak? Dr. Faizah pula. Dr. Hafizah boleh tak? Dr. Faizah share ada tak button download for CSV? Situ. Dekat doktor punya ni.
Dekat mana doktor?
Sorry, bila get this logs tu, tekan get this logs. Bawah ni sekali ada tak ni? Ada tak button bawah sekali? Scroll bawah ada tak button download to CSV? Ada juga. So boleh cuba download. Itu ada 919 muka surat tu. Okay. Ni sebentar saya buka saya punya.
Saya kena buka file ni ke? Logs ni?
Boleh cuba buka. Dia dalam bentuk Excel tu je. Okay. So this is how it says. Cuba doktor besarkan sikit kolom D tu. Yang D. Yang tu besarkan sikit. Oh, okay. Sorry for kolom E. Kolom E dengan kolom F. So inilah dia ada aktiviti dia, sama ada dia view ke dia ke bawah lagi ni banyak syaraf punya aktiviti ni. Bawah lagi ada tak yang student punya aktiviti? Okay. Ada yang dia view, ada yang kadang-kadang dia do something ke, ataupun doktor tak ada buat aktiviti yang menyebabkan dia kena do something dalam ni?
Sebab saya menggunakan Microsoft Teams. So banyak aktiviti dalam Microsoft Teams.
I see. Okay. Macam yang tadi siapa tadi tak perasan tadi cakap lah So dekat dalam Microsoft Teams pun ada juga function ini, especially setelah you all ended a session, a synchronous session, bila you all dalam setiap channel tu dia ada juga statistik macam ni. Tapi saya tak sure boleh download sebagai CSV ataupun tidak. Nanti boleh cuba korek-korek ataupun cari how did they make full use of the things and activity that you have in your Microsoft Teams tu punya channel. Macam tu. Saya rasa saya
Dr. Nobiha.
Ya.
Kenapa nak kena convert kepada CSV data ni?
Okay, data ni kalau nak convert kepada CSV, kalau nak analyse macam buat prediction macam saya nak ajar ni tadi. Tapi kalau doktor tak nak analyse dan buat prediction pun, itu boleh berhenti kat bahagian tengok visualization macam tu tadi je dah okey. Macam tu. Analyse macam tu je tengok, okay yang ni budak ni okey, budak ni tak okey, macam tu je pun dah okey sebenarnya. Tak perlu sampai download ni. Kalau saya kata if you want to go further, to further analyse daripada data-data how students engage in your learning environment ni, which behavior yang boleh predict performance. Kalau nak buat prediction, predictive analytics, itu yang kita nak download data ni and then further analyse lah. Kalau just nak tengok, nak describe how they have been doing, dekat level kita tengok budak-budak sorang-sorang tu tadi je dah cukup. Macam tu. But what I'm trying to demonstrate yang ini adalah macam lebih kepada nak buat more analysis lah. Sekejap. Saya tunjukkan.
So Wika memang hanya terima CSV data format lah.
Dia terima CSV data format dan dia akan convert dalam bentuk ARFF. Nanti saya tunjukkan ni. Tapi I assure you, all of you, apa yang saya nak tunjukkan ni memang totally unnecessary kalau you all just nak tahu the way they interact. Itu saja dekat analytics yang tadi, dekat course report tu tadi dah cukup sebenarnya. But what I'm going to show you, yang ini adalah extensive of it lah kalau nak research.
Okay. Saya nak tanya satu soalan, Dr. Nobiha. Berbanding dengan data yang kami dapat daripada kita punya learning LMS, yang UUM pakai adalah berapa kali student log in. So kalau dalam Microsoft Teams, dia komprehensif sampai masuk kepada berapa tempoh diorang masuk dan time span. So adakah kita kena ubah dia punya coding sikit untuk masukkan elemen time span tu?
Kalau dalam LMS
standard
kita ni, kalau dalam model kita ni, kita memang kena buat benda tu manually. Itu dia punya disadvantage. Kalau nak buat lah. Tapi saya don't bother lah untuk buat time span. Saya just nak tahu aktiviti mana itu je sebenarnya. How many hours dia spend tu, it's not my interest lah in knowing macam tu. Tapi kalau nak tahu, boleh buat secara manual dekat guna log data kita tu tadi. But kalau dalam Microsoft Teams dah ada, that is even better. So kita boleh tahulah sebenarnya budak ni dia mungkin spend too much time dekat dalam certain activity ni, yang kita ingatkan senang, rupanya susah. Mungkin jadi kita boleh maybe reflect on, okay lepas ni kena kurangkan sikit. Apparently all of my students consume a lot of time with solving this kind of activity. Itu yang kata-kata pelajar kita terbeban kan, kita ingatkan macam kita bagi kerja yang biasa je. But apparently for their level, it is not that simple. So itu kegunaannya lah, I would say. Understanding about the time span is very good. Tapi kalau dalam apparently kat dalam kita punya learning management system ni, dia tak bagi kita information tentang time span. Dia cuma bagi kita information tentang bila di access, how frequent di access. Itu saja. Kalau nak buat time span, kena buat manual. Kena tolak masa before, after, macam tu. Dalam LMS memang tak ada. Tapi kalau dalam Microsoft Teams ada, then that is very, very good. Macam tu. For lecturers to do. That will be my answer, Doctor. Okay. Ni. Sekejap, saya tunjukkan saya punya data tu tadi, kalaulah ada yang nak mencuba menganalisisnya. Text edit. Okay. Ini data saya yang daripada CSV tu. Saya convert kan. Jadi macam inilah. Nampak tak? Kecil sangat. Gini. So data ni saya run kat dalam WK software. Jadi saya ada overall frequency sebagai variable yang pertama. Saya nak tengok number of access to video, number of access to notes, number of access to learning activity, number of access to exercise, quiz, assignment, coursework, final exam score, total exam score. Ni yang raw, ni sebenarnya tak perlu pun. Okay, and performance dia, saya groupkan dia sama ada medium ataupun high. Saya ada 3 version saya data. Ni data yang first time saya buat. Jadi setiap satu list ni, dia punya row ni adalah, dia punya row untuk every student lah. Okay, so 503 ni represent student number 1 punya overall frequency of access. 48 ni represent number of access to video, 180 adalah number of access to notes, and so on. So setiap satu ni represent satu line pertama kat sini. 48 ni represent yang kedua dan seterusnya. Dan saya ada 71 orang, so saya ada 71 line. Okay, and then I save this format, this data as .arff sebab WK dia terima format .arff. So ini yang part data preparation dia. Okay, and then
Assalamualaikum Dr. Nabiha. Boleh tunjukkan untuk proses prep data ni tak?
Proses apa?
Nak buat preparation untuk data ni, data punya preparation.
Oh, yang ini saya gini je. Okay, ini memang of course ni buat dalam notepad lah. Ni buat dalam notepad. Memang tulis satu-satu lah. Alias, relation. Tulislah ni tajuk kita punya data ni lah apa. Pattern, underscore, engagement. Dia tak boleh huruf besar. Huruf kecil semua. Okay. Lepas tu kita kena tulis attribute. Kataan attribute ni alias. Kataan attribute ni kena ada. Okay, apa. And then data kita tu jenis numeric ke ataupun jenis kalau numeric dia biasanya nombor-nombor ni lah. Okay. Tapi kalau data you jenis macam performance A, B, C, D, okay, you tulis kat sini dalam kurungan. Kalau budak tu performance A ke B ke, tulis dalam kurungan, comma macam C, D, macam tu. Tapi saya pakai, sebab saya kata saya groupkan budak tu kepada medium dengan high. Saya tak nak predict budak ni dapat A ke B ke C ke D sebab saya dah groupkan dia dekat medium dengan high. Lepas tu baru kat bawah ni saya tulis perkataan alias data. So kalau you ada banyak variable kat sini, you senarai kalau banyak-banyak. Katakanlah kat sini tadi ada lagi alias attribute time span. Okay, time span. Lepas tu kat sini time span tu dalam bentuk number kan. So it is numeric. Tapi make sure bila you tambah kat sini, you kena tambahlah kat comma kat sini. Comma, space, apa data untuk time span ni. Katakanlah untuk budak ni time span dia how many hours. Contoh 56 hours ataupun minutes. Lepas tu comma, jangan lupa ni. Tapi so sebab data saya ni kena ada untuk setiap budak.
So maksud saya dekat sini adalah data kita dekat bawah tu. Kita kena prepare satu-satu lah. Bukan maksudnya kita boleh directly ambil data daripada CSV ni.
Boleh. Kita save as comma delimited. Sekejap lagi kita tengok.
Okay. So kalau macam contoh data 503 tu dia represent satu student ke ataupun dia represent a group of student ke ataupun macam mana itu metric number ke apa tu?
Okay, yang ini satu line ni represent satu data seorang student. This one line represent data one student. Okay, katakanlah ini data Ali Ali. Line pertamanya data Ali. Ali ni 503 ni represent dia punya overall frequency 503. Yang 48 ni represent data frequency of video. Faham tak doktor?
Oh, aku rasa kita kena proses dulu dah daftar daripada CSV. Ni kita kena ambil dulu. Itu yang saya nak tanya tu. Maksudnya kalau kata biasa kalau saya guna, kita boleh ambil direct dari sini and then kita kena buat preparation, kita kena prep sikit data tu, gunakan apa nama tool untuk extract dulu, letakkan dulu dalam file untuk ARS ni.
Susunkan dia.
So, kena pre-process dulu lah. Kita nak ambil raw data and then daripada raw data ni kita boleh feed masuk dia secara automatik untuk read.
Betul.
Kena prep dulu lah.
Jadi dia kena prep dulu. Saya prep kalau macam ni, saya buatkan dalam pada bentuk macam ni. Saya dah susunkan lah mana satu yang video, mana satu yang daripada data raw tu memang tak boleh lah, saya kena susunkan lah. Okay, saya susunkan mana satu yang contoh ni saya tak buat seorang-seorang, saya buat dengan kawan-kawan. Jadi ajak kawan-kawan ni. Tapi guna data saya lah. So jadinya dah ini daripada raw tadi. Tapi kawan saya dah clean kan. Okay. Kawan saya dah clean kan. Tolong clean kan. Okay. Daripada sini kami dah cleankan. Ini format Excel lagi lah. Okay. Dan baru kami savekan save as .csv. Macam ni. Kami dah cleankan macam ni lah. Daripada data raw tu. Gitu.
Panjang proses dia lah. Dia punya
bersihkan data tu macam tu lah. Memang kena bersihkan lah. Daripada yang tadi lah kita filterkan. Lepas tu saya dah susun macam ni.
Tak develop tools untuk extraction tool lah.
Ya. Jadi ada susun-susunkan macam ni dan lepas tu masukkan dalam save as comma delimited. Lepas tu kita panggil kita savekan .arff. Lepas tu saya ambil saja row tu, saya masukkan dekat arff. Okay. Dapat yang macam ni kan. So ginilah. Ini gini. Ni 503 ni adalah ni. Mana budak ni? Ni 503 ni saya file Excel ni saya save as CSV lagi sekali and then saya ambil di dalam bentuk koma kan. Lepas tu saya ambil lagi sekali data ni and then buatkan dalam bentuk ni lah. Dekat sini, pastekan kat sini. Macam tu. Okay, tu saya kata kalau saya nak ajar yang raw daripada tu tadi, sini je panjang sikit lah tapi saya just nak tunjukkan je ni macam mana. And then saya pun pergi dekat Explorer ni, pergi buka software WK ni. Okay. Kalau minat lah dah research sikit lah sebenarnya. Okay.
Doktor boleh share tak data ni supaya kami boleh try?
Boleh, saya boleh share. Okay, macam ni. Lepas tu saya pergi ke open file. Okay, saya ambil lah data saya tu kat mana. Saya ambil contoh ni lah data mining. Saya pun tak tahu satu yang ni. Okay, so ini nampak software ni, data ni. Okay, lepas tu katakanlah ini semua data saya dan saya tak nak pilih, hari tu saya tak pilih nilai exam saya rasa. Saya remove dan saya nak remove coursework, data coursework sebab tak relevan. Okay, and then saya pun pergilah ke classify. Okay, lepas tu saya nak predict. So ini sorry dia punya ni saya tak tahulah kenapa dah banyak kali. Saya nak buat tree, decision tree. Sorry memang tak nampak ni. Sorry, saya pun tak tahulah apa benda kenapa saya tak boleh besar. Dan saya ambil classification rule J48. Okay, so dia akan keluar model macam ni. Okay, saya boleh right click, saya boleh visualize tree. Mungkin tak dapat data yang sama dengan itu. Itu screen. Ginilah. Tapi sebenarnya kalau ini nama dia data mining, tapi data mining yang bagus data dia lagi banyak. Of course, kalau tanya orang big data, dia akan kata macam your 71 students ni is not sufficient to have a reliable prediction. But bagi saya untuk just have some general idea, I think it is okay. Tapi kalau untuk have general idea daripada yang tadi tu pun okay juga. Okay, saya rasa total raw ni saya kena remove juga. Total raw ni pun saya kena remove. Sorry. Okay, saya classify lagi sekali. Visualize tree. Okay, ni yang saya dapat hari tu. Sebab hari tu, yes, this is the one. Fit to screen. So inilah yang saya dapat tadi. Okay, quiz dia ni, apparently quiz ni menjadi penentu kepada segala note-note lain. Kalau ikutkan variable saya, video tu, menonton video tu is not significant, doesn't walaupun you menonton video 1000 kali pun apparently it doesn't contribute to high performance. Macam tu. Kita boleh ni lah maksudnya tonton video kita tu penting, okay, but apparently when these self-evaluate themselves more, it apparently contribute to apa tu, high performance. Macam tu lah. Kita boleh somehow have some idea macam tu. Okay, jadi kita tengok elemen-elemen ni sahaja. Daripada data kita tadi kita ada macam-macam. Kita ada learning activities, kita ada video watch, kita ada apa lagi watching video, kita ada satu lagi yang saya tak ingat. Tapi variable tu tak muncul kat sini to predict learning performance. So apparently yang predict learning performance adalah quiz, notes, assignment and exercises. Dan kalau budak tu dia dalam high performing student, apparently these two activities they do more than the rest of this method. Macam tu. Okay, so this is how I do some simple analysis lah kepada data-data student saya, just to understand more. And then next semester, so saya tahulah saya kena perbanyakkan lagi quiz ni dan make sure pelajar ni attempt quizzes that I give. Sebab saya memang buat quiz ni very frequent, tapi saya tak compulsory. I tak make it compulsory to my students. Quiz tu saya namakan sebagai concept test. Setiap end of lesson saya akan bagi concept test. Concept test saya ni simple je. Kadang-kadang 3 soalan, kalau saya rajin 10 soalan. Kalau saya tak ada masa 5 soalan. It's all multiple choice question, but this question is based on concept only. For example, do they able to differentiate antara arithmetic operators and logical operators? Benda-benda yang sangat konsep. Sebab I'm teaching student teachers, jadi pelajar-pelajar sport science ni, cikgu-cikgu sport science ni, they don't really understand. Dia kata, doktor saya kan belajar jadi cikgu sains sukan, kenapa saya kena belajar programming? Jadi these some terminologies they have very difficult time understanding terminologies. So I do a lot of concept test asking them about terminologies, supaya dia tahu benda ni maksud dia lain, benda ni maksud dia lain. Jangan don't confuse words yang macam ni, sebab compiler lain dengan benda-benda lain lah macam tu. So I want them to be very proficient in differentiating things, sebab different things carry different meaning kat dalam programming ni kan. So I do that in concept test. Dan konsep test tu saya kategorikan sebagai quiz. So this is what I get. Gitulah. Okay, but again, you do not have to go to this extent because I know and I'm very passionate about this, so that's what I do. But you can stop, of course, at tengok visualization of every student tu, how they perform weekly. That is, and then react on it. Itu yang saya nak tekankan kat sini sebenarnya. For all of us today, because I think not many of us are aware about this activity report ni, activity report pelajar. Okay, so you should be aware about how your students are interacting. Macam tu. Okay, itu saja saya rasa yang saya nak kongsikan. One last thing, maybe. Okay, so if you are interested in in knowing more, there are many other research lah, contohnya yang buat pasal analytics ni, ada yang analyse how students engage in video, dia pause ke, dia highlight ke benda kat video ke, dia tiba-tiba dekat video tu macam dia ulang banyak kali ke. Ada orang buat research on that as well, that is video learning analytics. Ada yang buat how students plan, evaluate and monitor their self, itu yang research yang pertama ni. So there are many ways of analyzing things lah. So this is just making use of research into real life punya interpretation. for learning analytics. Okay. Basically, my key takeaways is number one, we have to always reflect on the way we teach in teaching analytics, and while reflecting on how the way we teach dekat dalam teaching design tu, kita reflect juga how students are progressing based on data. Don't make assumption, okay, bila budak tu tak datang kita assume dia tak buat. But we study them, study their behavior based on data and make conclusion based on data and not based on assumption. Itu je yang saya nak tekankan pada hari ini, because all the data is there, we just need to know where to look for them and what to do with them and understand that data. Okay, so that's all I think from me. Thank you very much. Soalan ke?
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Ya.
Nak tanya, okay, dari segi analytics ni, adakah dia, okay, satunya memanglah apa yang student buat, mereka akan faham prediktif nanti, apa yang decision making tree semua itulah. Tapi adakah impact kepada pelajar yang ada masalah, katalah connection internet kan, yang sekarang ni kan. So adakah ini boleh kita masukkan sebagai pemboleh ubah, sebab bila prediktif, elemen-elemen yang tak terkawal, contohnya line internet tak stabil, so itu yang mengganggu. Sebenarnya mereka rajin nak belajar, ataupun mereka kategori pelajar yang kalau kami online learning ni, remote learning, kita ada 3 kategori kan. So kategori yang teruk sangat internet ni kita buat secara manual, jumpa pun bagi bahan manual lah kan. So apakah cara untuk actually kita standardizekan, kalau kita gunakan predictive analytics ni, macam mana kita nak bagi semua student, tak kisahlah student ni dia akan online ke ataupun dia cara lain, mereka motivate untuk belajar.
Okey. Yang saya tunjukkan ni adalah sumber data daripada satu source je, iaitu data source kita adalah dekat online learning management system je, which is not fair kan. Sedangkan macam some of you said that, doktor saya mengajar dekat Microsoft Teams, tapi assignment submission saya submit dekat e-learning, dekat university punya learning management system. So dah ada 2 data source kat situ, satu dekat Microsoft Teams, satu dekat sini. So dan yang baik je sebenarnya, kalau doktor kata ada lagi pemboleh ubah. Contoh, satu lagi adalah attribute access internet. Boleh tambah kat sini. Okay. Yes, no. Tapi yang ini, information ni tak dapatlah daripada learning management system tadi. Doktor kena tanya manually. Tanyalah dah sikit dalam bentuk short survey. Pakai survey pun boleh. Short survey tanya, you budak-budak yang macam ni dia ada internet connection tidak? Yes. So semua budak kena jawab yes or no. So kalau dia ada internet connection ataupun do you have any disrupted internet connection, ada tambah satu lagi data kat sini. Mungkin budak ni yes, dan dia perform medium. Mungkin budak ni no, tapi performance dia high. Nampak tak? Kalau budak ni mungkin yes. So mungkin dia ada tambahan data lah kat sini. Tapi data yang ini bukan datang daripada learning management system kita tadi, datang daripada data-data yang kita kumpul daripada sumber lain. But you can include all of that into one data ni untuk kita analyze. Kita boleh lakukan macam tu. Because I understand there are so many factors that can influence the way students perform. So access to internet is one of it. Okay, but unfortunately we cannot collect that kind of information through learning management system kita. But you can ask them, guna survey, short survey ke, macam tu, okay, and ask them their access to internet. So nanti kita boleh tengoklah kalau mungkin students who perform high, variable access internet ni tak mempengaruhi pun. Okay, macam saya kata tadi dalam saya punya decision tree, video ni tak keluar pun, attribute learning activities ni pun tak keluar. It means that it doesn't really contribute to how to students performing medium or high. Okay, or maybe access to internet is part of it, ataupun maybe access to internet doesn't matter, you ada access internet ke, tak ada access internet ke, as long as you have access to video, maybe then you can perform better. Macam tu. Okay, so that will be my answer. I hope I answer your question, doktor. Itu ke maksud doktor yang doktor nak tahu?
Okay. Faham.
Okay, jadi boleh dapatkan data source daripada tempat lain. Tapi kita satukan kat sini. Dengan spesifik budak lah. Contohnya budak A ni dia ada akses internet dan ini markah dia. Okay, so you can combine all that. Ini memang tak ada faktor variable lain lah. Saya memang analyze gitu saja, plain saja daripada online. Kalau ada tu lah saya kata tadi, macam access internet yes or no ni, dia nak kata dia static data, tak juga static data kadang-kadang sebab dia, tapi sebenarnya static data dia sebenarnya ada ataupun tak ada internet. Tapi ada budak kadang-kadang hari ni ada internet, esok dia tak ada internet macam tu. But actually access internet ni adalah static data sebenarnya. Sama juga dengan mungkin kita nak masukkan faktor dia keluarga B40 ke tidak, contoh. Ataupun kita nak masukkan lagi pula faktor parents dia punya gaji. So boleh tambahlah lagi, I don't know kan, whether it is contributing or not kan, attribute whether dia full time ataupun part time. Okay, full time underscore part time. Okay, so kita boleh masukkan ke sini punya variable dia. Full time comma dengan part time. So mungkin tambahlah lagi satu variable kat sini. Budak ni adalah full time. Okay. Budak ni adalah part time. Maybe. Mungkin status dia sebagai full time dan part time itu mempengaruhi kan? The way they perform, we can also ask that. Tapi ini adalah static data. Macam tu. Okay. So I hope it gives you some insight about what is happening. Tapi the most important thing is that I want you to be aware of analyzing, the importance of analyzing students' data. Semasa sambil-sambil kita mengajar tu, sambil-sambil tu tengoklah how our students are performing, how they are engaging with our teaching and learning dengan cara data. Kadang-kadang bila dia menjawab kita soalan kita masa kita sesi synchronous tu, doesn't mean that they are entirely engaged. Mungkin budak yang tak menjawab apa-apa pada kita semasa kita mengajar tu, but they are very active in accessing resources, reading things here and that. Itu mungkin banyak. Jadi kita tak adalah kita rasa bersalah sangat budak ni macam tak tanya soalan. Somehow macam tu Mungkin dia are passive. Kadang-kadang orang dia introvert kan, tak suka sangat interact kan macam tu. Okay, so that would be my take lah untuk pelajar-pelajar kita. Okay, so data kita tadi yang ini saya boleh sharekan, saya sharekan dekat link ni. You can access. Okay, nanti slide ni saya sharekan juga kepada sekretariat. Ada soalan lain lagi?
Dari segi kita punya training data tadi tu, kalau teknik yang kita gunakan tu macam tu tadi guna J23, decision tree
Yang saya buat tadi adalah classification menggunakan decision tree. Saya gunakan J48 rule yang ini. J48, okay. Kalau nak bagus lagi sebenarnya if you research more, nanti tengoklah kita boleh pakai cross validation dia punya test set ke, nak use training set ke, apa ke. Yang ini kita tengoklah kita nak predict performance ke. Biasanya kita predict performance lah. Ini adalah apa benda yang kita nak predict. Ujungnya biasanya kita nak predict performance. Then saya tekan start. Biasanya jarang orang nak predict daripada data-data ni, lepas tu nak predict markah untuk assignment, macam tak betul pula kan. So predict ni kita predict performance. Okay. Lepas tu kita dia adalah ni indication kat sini. Kalau kat sini dia kata correctly classified instances, ada 60 instances yang correctly classified. Lepas tu kapas statistik kalau ikutkan 0.68 ni adalah reliability of how well, atau bukan how well, how similar apa yang dia predict ini dengan the ground truth. Maksudnya macam tadi cerita tadi kalau keluar bermain tadi, contohnya saya sebenarnya suka keluar bermain pada in rainy days and when it is windy. Okay, that is my ground truth. Tapi sebenarnya secara normalnya bagi kebanyakan orang, bila hari hujan, rainy, and when it is windy, orang tak keluar bermain. So value kapas statistik ni membandingkan kalau lagi tinggi value dia, maksudnya lagi similar apa yang dia predict ni dengan the actual truth. Gitu. Itu maksud inilah. Ni Google Access. Okay, nanti saya bagi akses ni dekat ni. Saya ada ATM kat ni. Okay, itu value kapas statistik ni. Okay, lepas tu bolehlah baca-baca lagi apa maksud value-value yang lain ni. Okay, ini lebih macam research lah pula sebenarnya. Jadi boleh baca-baca lagi lah. Okay, so ini macam ialah data mining lah ni data mining. Okay, so this is what it means lah. Lepas tu nak visualize tree tadi, kita right click kat sini. Kita tekan visualize tree. Okay. Dia akan keluar pop up macam ni, kecil macam ni. Tapi saya kena besarkan. Besarkan. Lepas tu saya right click kat sini. Saya tekan fit to screen. Jadi dia lebih besar sikit. Senang nak tengok. Macam tu. Okay. Right. Ada soalan lain lagi? Jadi saya bagi akses dekat Google Drive ni. Okay. Kalau tak ada apa-apa lagi, saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada semua kerana sudi mendengar.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Biha.
Ya.
Just nak tanya, Wika ni dia boleh buat some sort of dashboard ke apa tak on visualization? Ke memang macam ni sahaja dia punya visualization?
Tak ada. Dia tak buat visualization, dia tak buat data visualization, dia cuma buat prediction and then dia visualizekan sikit prediction tu. Itu je. Tapi tak ada visualization of data yang hebat-hebat lah. Tak ada.
Okay, terima kasih.
Tapi dia boleh buat classification and clustering, macam tu. Boleh lah. Okay, itu saja Dr. Izwan daripada saya. Sementara saya bagi akses ni.
Terima kasih Dr. Nabiha.
Sama.
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Nabiha atas perkongsian untuk learning analytics hari ini. Bagi pihak Rusia, saya mohon semua peserta untuk isi borang penilaian bengkel di bit.ly/UTLC evaluation 21. Saya dah kongsikan di ruangan chat tadi. Untuk itu saya ucapkan sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Dr. Nurbiha dan juga semua peserta bengkel pada hari ini. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih banyak Dr. Nurbiha.
Assalamualaikum.